Welcome to Too Old, Too New, the music discovery podcast that brings you something old, something new, something Nate, something Bruce. I'm Nate Runkle, host of the Yo, That's My Jawn podcast, and with me, as always, is my good friend Bruce Warren from WXPN. The premise of this show is simple. Each week, we bring you two songs apiece. One new song that has been metaphorically spinning our turntable platters, and one old song that we believe still absolutely matters. And friend, we called it last week, but the Eagles are making their way to the championship.
That's what I'm talking about, buddy. That is what I'm talking about. I'm sure like every other Eagles fan, last couple, minutes, seconds of that game got us a little nervous, but we pulled through.
We certainly did. And specifically Jalen Carter pulled through because
Unbelievable.
Just ate him.
I know.
It was great.
You know what's interesting? Every year I have a friend who, for some reason gets into a sport that we're advancing in on. And then, of course, we always lose, et cetera, et cetera. And they go, how do you deal with it? I was like, listen, as a lifelong Philly fan, as a Philly sports fan, I have gotten used to the ups and the downs. So what can I tell you?
I listened to Bill Simmons a lot from The Ringer, and he was talking this weekend on his Guest the Line show about the Eagles game, and he was like, if you fed in a perfect game for an Eagles fan to be able to win, still complain, and still hate everything about their team, he's like, if you fed that into an AI generator, it would have given you Sunday's game.
That's exactly right. That's right. Spot on, Bill Simmons. Beautiful. Well, anyway, I've got my Birds hat on. I'm ready for this week. Bring on the Commanders. And for some reason, I wore my Phillies sweat hoodie today. It was the first one I went for. So I'm all fucking sported up here.
You're all over the place. It's great, though. But, as always, we got some songs to dig into. So why don't you go first? Why don't you give us your old pick?
Okay, I'll pick. I'm going straight to the heart of 1982 Gap Band, baby. Gap Band 4. This band had more hits than any. Than they had as many hits as the big R&B bands of the late 70s, early 80s had. I was trying to think of an analogy, but I couldn't really think of a good one. But this record in particular, it is still my favorite all-time Gap Band, and for good reason. It has some unbelievable songs. It's got You Dropped the Bomb on Me. It's got Early in the Morning with the song that opens up with the rooster. But it has my favorite time Gap Band song. And I'm talking about Outstanding. Do, 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 do. Girl, you knocked me. Girl, you know, you knocked me out. So let it rip. Outstanding. Gap Band.
Girl, you looking sweet tonight.
You blow my mind. There's so many amazing musical nuances in this song. Especially where they put a little reverb on that. It's incredible song. Anyway, yeah. Gap Band.
Charlie Wilson is one of the, I felt like one of the underrated singers of all time. And then I was so happy in like the early 2000s, early to the maybe 2010s when Snoop started bringing him around as Uncle Charlie Wilson. And he's a part of one of my favorite Neptunes productions, which is Signs with Justin Timberlake and Snoop and Uncle Charlie.
Classic.
And it's incredible stuff. I was tempted because Outstanding is sampled in two of my favorite celebrity turned musician songs, and I thought about making my old, but I couldn't decide between the two because I was torn between Shaquille O'Neal's "I'm Outstanding" and Tatiana Ali, who was Ashley Banks from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. She had "Boy, You Knock Me Out." And I was so tempted, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it.
Nate, wait a second. I never knew about this Shaquille O'Neal song. What?
Oh, yes. I'll send you a link. I should have made it my pick.
It's all right. Lots of music in the world. That's okay.
That's right.
I'm going to have to check it out after we get off the pod. Oh, wait. One other thing. Genius move last week. I put the pod up on Substack. Okay?
Right? And it gives us the chance to put the music in the video.
Exactly right. So thank you for that technological advancement. And last week we heard literally from tens of thousands of people because of it. So keep it coming. Tell your friends. Listen to the pod. And there you go. So thank you for that great idea.
Hey, sometimes inspiration sparks, you know?
Okay, something old from you now.
Something old from me. This
Yes.
is something that I had been thinking. So something came up over the break in between seasons where I learned something new about somebody who I've been a musical fan of for a long time, and that person is Sneaky Pete Clinau, who is the pedal steel guitar player from the Flying Burrito Brothers. Not just the Flying Burrito Brothers. He's pretty much played with everybody who's anybody throughout that had any kind of pedal steel. He was on it. He's on Joe Cocker's album. He's on Linda Ronstadt, Jackson Brown. A little gentleman named John Lennon used Sneaky Pete, Yoko, Harry Nilsson, just so many. He's on Joni Mitchell Blue. All right, so absolute legend, you know, plus the Flying Burrito Brothers and earlier with the Byrds and, you know, Graham. So always been in my life musically, but I found out recently that he was also a stop motion animator. And yes, no, and not just a stop motion animator. He was a stop motion animator who wrote the theme song to fucking Gumby.
Okay, now you're blowing my mind.
If you have a heart, then
Yeah.
Gumby's a part. Yeah, it was Sneaky Pete. Okay, now it gets even crazier. He did the dinosaurs for The Land of the Lost, the Sid and Marty Krofft show. He did work on The Empire Strikes Back. He did work on Gremlins. He did work on Terminator 1 and 2. Essentially, what I'm getting at is Sneaky Pete somehow has been the sneakiest Pete of my entire life and has been in all aspects of it. Since
That
the
is
early
crazy.
days. Isn't that insane? I had no idea. So I wanted to mention Sneaky Pete, and I wanted to pick a Sneaky Pete song. So I started digging through the catalog, and I found this album called Sweet Steel. All right, it's a pedal steel guitar album. It's Sneaky Pete, it's Buddy Emmons, it's Red Rhodes, it's J.D. Manis, and it's Rusty Young, and it's fucking phenomenal. It's all pedal steel. And they do all kinds of different covers. There's a Sunshine of Your Love cover. There's a few Beatles covers, which is what I picked today. I picked a song that Sneaky Pete does with Buddy Emmons, and it is a little song called Yesterday. And let's hear that right now. It's incredible. He also does Blackbird on the album, and it's just mind numbing. But one of the other things I want to call out from that album is Red Rhodes. I don't know how many people are familiar with Red Rhodes, but Red Rhodes had a really good collaboration with a gentleman named Michael Nesmith, who you might know as the one with the hat from the Monkees. The two of them made beautiful country rock together. But Red does something. The George Harrison Beatles track on this album, and it's ethereal, absolutely ethereal. So Sweet Steel, the pedal steel album. The other thing I want to mention about Sneaky Pete, though, is that in the 2000s, before he passed away, he started a project that was kind of like a Graham tribute called Burrito Deluxe, named after the Flying Burrito Brothers album. And the first album, Georgia Peach, had a gentleman playing keys on it, and that gentleman was Garth Hudson of the band, who just passed away. And I wanted to make one of those songs, my pick today, but it's not streaming anywhere, so I couldn't find it, and I couldn't share it. And YouTube only had a full album. But anyway, we lost the great Garth Hudson, and that bums me out, man.
Yeah, the last living member of the band. Great rock and roll band.
You know, and you know, not just the band, but also Sneaky Pete makes me think about all of these guys who, you know, were either session musicians or backing bands, all of these unsung heroes, you know, and like I was kind of talking about with Pete, people who have played on every single beautiful, brilliant album that you've probably heard of, you know, and they're the through line. They're the glue. They're the people who kind of make things sonically feel, you know, the way that you feel when you listen to music. And, you know, we're losing all of the greats, man. It's sad.
It's very sad. It's sad. You know, he was, I guess, in his early 70s. He died in 2007, right?
Yes.
Well, I'm
Pete.
talking about Sneaky Pete for a second.
Yeah.
2007. He died. He was 72 years old when he died.
Yeah,
And
dementia.
And you know, but to your point, yeah, you know, I'm bummed. You know, we did interviews with a couple. Obviously, we did interviews on the World Cafe here in Philly, where we produced a show at XPN with Robbie Robertson and Levon Helm. And I'm really kind of sad now that we never did an interview with Darth himself. And but unbelievable. And while he's, I guess, by many people mostly known as the keyboardist, organized for the band, obviously Chess Fever. He played every instrument. It was just really sad. Very sad.
Yeah, and that's that's the other thing is these guys who are like multi instrumentalists who just kind of sit in and can jump from spot to spot. I think about like Pat Sansone and Mikhail from Wilco, and
Right.
like just these guys who I said help provide the bed to everything you love about your favorite music.
Yeah. I'm moving around, by the way. For those of you watching this, I'm moving around because one of my cats just busted into my office. And Pepper is going to absolutely destroy me in about 2 seconds, but that's okay. We'll let him be.
Pepper just kicked in the door, waving the
Pepper
4-4.
just fucking kicked in the door, and it's kind of true. He kind of kicked in the door. But now, of course, it's locked, so he wants to get out. But anyway, we digress. Rest in peace, Garth Hudson. Unbelievable. He was like in his mid 80s, right? I think.
I think so. I think that's what I
Yeah.
read today. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, lived a great long life, and we have all this amazing music to remember him from. And if you never watched The Last Waltz, people, okay, you don't have to wait for fucking Thanksgiving to do that. It's always available.
And if you do watch The Last Waltz, I want you to look for my favorite Easter egg of the entire thing, which is the cocaine residue in Neil Young's nose during his entire performance that they tried to edit out, but like it was back in the day,
Couldn't
so
do
it
it.
was hard to edit. So you can
Couldn't do it.
it's awesome.
All right. Time to move into some new territory. Why don't you go first?
All right, sounds good. So
Yeah.
for my something new, as everyone probably knows, I'm an enormous pop music fan. The basis behind the Yo That's My Jawn brand has always been displace the guilt, embrace the pleasure, because I don't believe in guilty pleasures. I just absolutely love pop music, and it's not like some kind of like weird like ironic thing. I just fucking love pop music, and my favorite album of 2023 was With Love From by Ali and AJ. Ali and AJ Michalka are sisters. They got their start on the Disney Channel, and they started a music career. They kind of got out of the Disney machine to make their music career, and then they had a hit with a song called Potential Breakup Song, which is a fucking banger if you need something to listen to. But then they continued to grow as writers and as singers. And they kind of stopped trying to make chart hits. They just started to make music that they wanted to make. And they've continuously now put out just albums that absolutely sound phenomenal. And they're about to release a new one entitled Silver Deliver this spring. And one of the singles they released from it is my pick this week. It's called What It Feels Like. And I'm going to play a little bit of it right now. This is Ali and AJ, What It Feels Like. It's you kind of have to hear the whole song, but there's a guitar rip that kind of plays over everything. And I'm going to be honest with you, the first time I heard it, the first thing I did was I ran to the credits because I thought our pal Adam from War on Drugs produced this song. Because it's got such a drugs feel. It's got that kind of like Built to Last era Grateful Dead feel to it that just drives, and I love it.
That's a really interesting observation. So, real quick sidebar on Adam. So, he produced the new Sam Fender stuff.
Yes.
Which is totally driving. And everybody knows Craig Finn has a new record coming out, but there's a new Craig Finn song coming out in a few days that also has the same driving feel for the same driving reason. But I hear you.
Right?
I hear you. So wait,
well,
who
go ahead. I was just going to say, it's funny because like the first time I heard that Sam Fender song, I was like, well, this is a fucking drugs track. And then I looked at the credits and I was like, oh, it's a fucking drugs track.
Yeah. So who's the older of the two?
I
of the sisters?
believe Allie is the older.
Okay. All right.
I think that's right. And Allie just had a kid while they were working on this song. As a matter of fact, I believe they were in the middle of working on this song and had her son. But the song's all about growing old and kind of the which is crazy, right? 30-year-olds. But it's about getting older and kind of still loving the changes, even though you're not the youthful person you were before. And I'm really excited for this album, obviously, because I'm an enormous fan. But like beyond that, this song, if the rest of it sounds as good as this, like might have another banger on our hands.
So they're really popular, huh?
I don't know that they are. I like this album that's coming out. The label passed on, so they had to go their own way to release it.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, as actresses, they're still getting work. Like AJ was a big part of the Netflix animated series She-Ra. And like, so it's not like they're nobodies, but the label passed on the album, which always to me it excites me because that usually means that it's something that the label just didn't understand, which means that it's good.
So okay, so this is interesting. I'm gonna go down this rabbit hole. I was familiar with them. I knew they were popular, but I realized how popular they were. But when you have a top 20 hit, right? That's what was the name of that song you mentioned?
Potential breakup song.
Potential breakup song. You have a top 20 hit, and you only have 250,000 followers on Instagram. Like, what's up with that?
That's right.
Like, I would have expected, I mean, there's a number of things you can kind of look at, right? To tell you the story of a popular artist.
Well, I'll tell you what my judge is. This is my judge. They almost came on the podcast 2 years ago. All right. So like,
God damn it. I bet you we can get them on now.
That's bro, I'm not going to lie. Email's out.
Wait, what label were they on? Do you remember?
It is, they were on Surefire. Now they're on Red Light.
Wait, they're managed by Red Light? They're
Yeah.
managed by Red Light?
Yeah.
What the fuck? I'm calling those fuckers.
I love it.
As soon as they get off the phone, I'm saying, we want Allie and AJ on our podcast.
Hell yeah. Hell yes. Putting
All
the
right.
energy out there. Putting the energy
All
out
right.
there. Well, what do
Okay.
you got? You got something absolutely phenomenal that I finally got a chance to dig into the album today.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
Yeah. So Phoebe Bridgers signed a trans singer-songwriter from Manchester, England to Phoebe's label. And you know what? Listen, I will tell you that I grew up on the greatest singers and songwriters. I'm a child of the 70s. Jackson Browne, Joni, I won't even name. I can't even name them because I'm going to leave somebody amazing out. And what separates like the most amazing singers and songwriters from everybody else, and they're a very small group. R&Z I'm including in that. You know what I mean? Like Janice Ian, like just so many incredible, really amazing singers and songwriters. Is that the first album almost they come out like almost fully formed. You don't have to wait for the third or the fourth record for them to blow you away. And I had this reaction to hearing Jasmine 4T's debut album, You Are the Morning, which came out a couple weeks ago or last week. I had an instant reaction that I have had a handful of times over the years listening to new singers and songwriters when I hear them. And it's about their transition, right? And you can know that and you cannot know that. Although the lyrics are incredibly honest and beautiful, the music is sweeping and gorgeous. I've listened to this album probably 6 or 7 times over the last week, at least once a day from start to finish. It is absolutely exquisite. So new music here. You Are the Morning, title song. It's a Jasmine. So it's Jasmine period 4 period T. Yeah, I think that's how they pronounce the name. Jasmine Forte, You Are the Morning. Here we go. So, yeah, the album coming out, that's Jasmine Forte. Jasmine Cruikshank is their name, and from Manchester. And the album is out on Phoebe Bridgers' label Satisfactory, but it's an all-boy Genius in project. All right, so they're all on the record. The story goes is that Jasmine was touring with Lucy. Lucy heard her demos, played them for Phoebe, and basically said, "We're putting this record out." So we got Lucy on the record, we got Julian on the record, we got Decca Moncari on the record. It was co-produced by Julian, Phoebe, and Lucy in California, and it is just song for song, absolutely mind-blowing. So there you
It's
go.
incredible. And this song, I was going to, I texted you about Lucy's song, and I should have texted you about this one. Strings, my friend. It's what we're
Strings.
talking about. It's
Exactly.
the return of the strings. No, this album is absolutely beautiful, and rocks, and like it takes you all over. But this
There
song
are
in
moments of
particular,
rockness. Yes.
this song in particular, the sonic bed with the hand claps and the foot stomps, but not the kind of stomp clap that you would expect. Like there's syncopation in there that varies. It's very, very, very incredible. So I definitely
and I love their
rec-
voice. Their voice
Yes.
is just stunning. I mean, it's just gorgeous.
And I got to give a shout out as a guy who performed as all lowercase Nate period 3 period 0, Nate 3.0. I respect a Jasmine period 4 period T. Like
right.
we smell our own.
Beautiful.
But I got a question for you, and this might be rumor, this might be tall tale, and you can probably tell me if this is true or not. Did Boy Genius meet at World Cafe during a non-com?
They kind of did, actually. Yeah, but they didn't become Boy Genius at non-com.
Right.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, the seeds were sown at one of our every year in May we have a music conference, a radio conference for mostly public radio stations in Philadelphia. And yeah, one year we had Phoebe and Lucy were on. And I remember when they actually kind of met because I was in our office space. We have a studio. If you look through when you're standing in the studio and you look into our reception area, you can kind of see people as they're walking through. And I think I was at this moment where Phoebe and Lucy actually came together. They were both playing on the bill. And I remember seeing Lucy and Phoebe there. And I literally walked out of the studio and around to start talking to them. And yeah, so there you go. Seeds were absolutely sown there at WXPN for that.
All of the magic happens at WXPN. That's true. It's a true story, and Bruce Warren just confirmed it. I thought so. I thought I had heard that, but I wasn't sure if I had made it up at some point because, you can't track that kind of, minute information down, but that's what you get. These are the stories you get on A Little Too Old, Too New with Nate and Bruce. Mostly with Bruce. Exactly. I just asked the question. As always, these songs will live on our Spotify playlist, which will be in the show notes. And the video for this will appear yet again on the Substack. You can find it's at yothat'smyjawn.substack.com, or you can go to somevelvetblog.substack.com. You'll find it either way. Just go on Substack and look for either one of us. You can also find us. Are you still doing socials? I'm so lost anymore. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, most of the time.
Yeah. So socials, he's at Some Velvet Blog. I'm at Nate 3.0. You can hear Bruce every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on WXPN, which I have to thank you for making me get stuck in my car the other day. I couldn't leave when you played the new Lucy Dacus song and then followed it up with Liz Phair. And I was like, oh, okay. So I guess I just live in my car now because I'm not getting out during this. And you can hear me every other Monday on whynotradio.net. Plus, the Yo, That's My Jawn podcast will be returning. Remember I said last week that I hadn't booked any guests, and that's why the podcast didn't come back?
Yeah.
Got 6 of them now. So I don't.
There you go.
So now I have too many. So now
rack them up, buddy.
Kicking people out. But that'll be back this coming Monday with... Corey Bernhardt, who has a solo album coming out, which, if you haven't heard yet, is absolutely incredible.
Corey is a motherfucking unbelievable musician from Philadelphia, keyboard player, among other things. And he's also in, he's in Colbert's band.
Colbert, he is in the Late Show band. That is
He's
correct.
in the Late Show band. I couldn't remember the name of it.
He's the replacement John Batiste.
That's right. That's right.
Minus the vocals.
Dude, that's exciting.
Right? Yeah. Oh, it was a
That's
great
exciting for
conversation.
you.
We had
That's
we had a really great chat, and he told me about touring with Pusha T, and that was all I needed to hear.
Oh, man. I know. I hear you.
But all right, guys. So thanks for tuning in, Bruce. I will catch you next time.
Peace out. See ya. Go Birds.
Go Birds.